Yo, 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 what's up, industry players? What's up, guys? Anyway, you guys already know it's Nqobile Tembane from Top Traders South Africa, and I'm sitting here with my amazing co-host over there.
Givens Kgasi, your next future president.
Yo. Yeah, anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning into another installment of, I almost said Market Masters, another installment of Industry Chats.
Were you shooting yesterday?
Yeah, I was shooting yesterday. Yeah, that's what I can say. Guys, thank you guys so much. So today's chat, according to the title of the video, is going to be a very interesting one. I'm interested. And I'm just going to state this from Max that everyone must know.
Yeah.
I don't know much about this topic of today.
Yes.
But I think it's very important that, I was like, you know what? I want to learn something today. So let's call someone who I've known actually. We've got Triple J in the building today. What's up?
What's up, guys?
What's up? Yeah, so Triple J, known him for a couple of years now, actually, and I know we met because of Forex, but now he's like deeply in the AI space right now, and I think that's going to be an interesting conversation for today. But before we get into that, how's everyone doing?
I think that's the third time you're asking me that question. Like I said to you in the morning, you usually ask me this question, but it's just part and parcel of what we do.
Yes.
Now, my week has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned this last week that we are now getting into winter.
Yes.
And without power, by the way. yeah, but it's been amazing. Yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm great. I am great. No complaints on my side. And what about you, Jay?
I'm rather fantastic. You see, like it's I believe this is the greatest time to be alive as a human being, and and just having that perspective of seeing, like, not just in my own life, but seeing the opportunity that's in the world right now. I took an Uber here. Obviously, I was very close, but the point being is that I always love to sit and listen and to pay attention to what's actually happening on the ground. And like with South Africa in general, and with everything in general, it's like I love to listen and to look at people and to really understand and to observe, to know what's going on. And the point why I was so happy to come and share this with not only South Africa, but whoever we are able to touch through this process, I'm more than happy about that, makes me even more fulfilled. So I cannot be more happy, essentially, to be here.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Yeah, so anyway, today, guys, we're diving deep into AI.
Yes.
Yeah. But before we actually go and ask Triple J to introduce himself as an industry player and whatnot, MJ, what is AI to you? I think I also want to put out my own understanding of that, and then you'll just properly tell us that this is this. So what is AI?
So basically, according to my own understanding, it's just the process of solving specific problems. It's just based on what are you using the AI for. And generally speaking, there are a lot of people that are quite concerned with how we are now getting into the world of AI. Because, in every new thing that is coming up, there are advantages and disadvantages. And I haven't really been much into the AI space. But like what you said, we are here to learn, and I would want to think how I can, have some contribution in my trading using the world of AI. I believe that we've been having that for quite some time. It's just that we did not have like names. We are known for robots.
Yes.
Right, which is generally what the AI is all about when it comes to the space of trading. And for those who don't know, we basically in South Africa, so in America it's called traffic lights, right? And in South Africa we call them robots, right? But I'm talking about now it's a total different thing. So people need to understand this, that as the world migrates into the new way of living, there are a lot of things that will change. a lot of people would be affected by this, like the employment change and all that, because but look, I'm only co-hosting this. We've got an expert in this. I don't really have to say much. Why would I write a book about this if I've got, Triple J is here, MJ is here. I think you need to add a J on your name too.
I don't think they'll go down well. In TJ, I'll probably call myself TJ Tembane Jr. after my father. Why not?
Oh yes. So we've got So only for today you are TJ.
I'm TJ.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's competition time again. Top Trader South Africa and XM are giving away an iPad to one lucky viewer. And here's how you can enter the competition. Firstly, make sure you register an account with the link down below in the description, and make sure that your account is verified. If you already have an account, register an additional account using the link in the description below under your own profile. Secondly, deposit a minimum of $50 in your account. Thirdly, trade one lot trading Forex, gold, or silver. Perfect. The competition will run through the month of June 2023, and the winner will be announced on the 7th of July 2023. So guys, let's get trading right now.
So I don't know, Triple J, your thought on this?
Yeah, so I think it's very important, before I just start rambling off about AI, I think it's very important to set the stage and set the ground level here. So who am I? Why should you be listening to me? So essentially, I pronunciation of your name, I don't want to butcher it.
Nqobile.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, Nqobile. Okay, I don't. Anyways, I'm gonna try.
But you know what's funny? You're from what's this place? Where are you from?
Pumalanga.
So like it's like
Nqobile. Oh, Nqobile. Okay. Yeah, if you want to add that in, people would butcher me. But anyways, so I think I just want to set the stage here, right? So as he said, basically, who am I? Where am I from? So essentially, like, I am from a small town in Mpumalanga. Essentially, I did not grow up in a family that had a bunch of money. Essentially, we had to obviously live that middle class lifestyle, essentially, which I'm very grateful for. Always had to save up for things. If you wanted to go some space, or you wanted to go to some vacation or a trip or something, you had to wait and save. Yeah. Essentially, so I got raised in that format of thinking, because this is how this all will connect, and I will paint you a beautiful picture right now. Is essentially that. So for me, it's always been my whole life. I felt like I've been prepared for what I'm about to share here. Okay, and the processes that we are involved here. So essentially, like, if you look at where I'm from and the things that I'm doing right now, is like, yes, I stay in Sandton. I live here essentially, but my point being is that the business and stuff that I'm gonna connect this now, and I'm trying to keep my train of thought here, but I'm gonna connect this now, how it connects to business, how it connects to what I do essentially, and the role of AI essentially. Okay, so like I said, like, I came from a place where I had to always work hard. Okay, like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you had to work hard, so you had always the underdog effect. So the underdog effect places you in that space where you're like, okay, no, I'm gonna work hard. We're gonna work hard. They might be better than us. Essentially, if you look for an example, the high school that I went to, we were decent at, like, sport, right? Like, so I went to a boarding school. I got a bursary to go to a boarding school, work hard essentially. And I was never the top kid in my class. I always used to get, like, C's and B's. I would be, like, ecstatic if I got a B, right? So, like, we worked hard for this B, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got 80, you would be, like, smiling all the way, you know what I'm saying? So that was me. Like, I was never the kid to always put my hand up in class and be like, hey, you know, like, hey, this is the answer. Like, you know, like I'm saying, like, I would kind of used to be the guy in the middle there, you know, but reason why I'm sharing this is because, like, I want to give you a full understanding of intelligence itself, and then we'll hook it to what is artificial intelligence. So for me, it was about understanding that the human potential, all of this stuff is really connected to human potential and understanding intelligence. So human potential, it is my purpose to help people understand and make better decisions with their time on this planet. Why am I saying that with so much confidence? Because there were things that I've went through in my life that I could not miss. I've mentioned before we recorded, like how I made the decision to not spend all of my time in as a day trader and move over to what I'm doing right now, because I was trying to balance my business and being a day trader, essentially, which is two complete different worlds. I explained this to someone the other way. When you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, you're go, right? It's like better, faster, better, faster, better, faster. Like you just go, right? When you're a trader, it's the opposite effect, because it's a different way you have to operate. You're like a sniper. You essentially have to chill in the grass with your camo on, and you got your rifle, you're loaded, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you have to chill there. I don't know if that makes sense, right? You have to chill there for the opportunity to show. And then based on probability, based on whatever system it is that you trade, you decide there and then to pull the trigger or not. Yeah. And the more you pull the trigger, okay, well, dependable, but the more you pull the trigger, the more like you'll have the more risk you will pack on. So if you look at I know a lot of really great traders, day traders and specifically, and also like money managers that play the more longer game. But essentially the day trader like philosophy is essentially velocity, right? Yeah. So if you really get good at being a day trader, which is obviously you guys have to do with day traders a lot, is that you're very good at like probability, okay? You're aligned with your trading plan, you're aligned with the things that you're doing, and yes, sometimes there is luck involved, okay? It's just the nature of things. But my point here is that understanding that when you're running a business and when you're trading, it's two different worlds, okay? That it's two different mindsets, because as a trader, you can also manage it as a business. That's the cash side of things, when you get the capital, when you get the money, essentially. But then you must remember that those two hemispheres in your brain is like calm, cool, collective. You take a hit, that's okay. I know my system is profitable. I can take X amount of trades and I'll still be profitable, right? Because I number one, believe in my own skills and abilities, because it all starts with that belief. And once you can validate that with a plan, with an action plan, or you can like validate that with something that is actually working, okay, whatever strategy it is that you're deploying in a trading realm, then you can take that and you can move over to basically be making money, right? And I'll put that in quotations, okay? So essentially, because that's the process. Money, like we'll have to also come back to what money is later on, but essentially it's being able to understand those things. So my whole journey and I'll really try to keep it as brief as possible, but my whole journey came through understanding how important decision making is in your everyday life. Yeah. So the better decisions, I have this own philosophy of myself, is that the better decisions we can make with our time on this planet, right? The better we are able to optimize the direction that we go into and where and how we spend our times. So I recently made a video about this and I just outlined those facts. I posted it on my YouTube if people want to go check that out. But I posted a decision-making framework. Now, you can call this $1 million decision-making framework, $1 billion decision-making framework. However, the way I see this is that certain people in this world think differently. The people who are able to think different are able to optimize for opportunity. So whatever that opportunity might be. Okay. So without things being said, it's like this framework that I've developed is what we share with all of our clients that I work with, and I will connect that to the process right now. But essentially, coming back to my point, is that all these things I had to sit down, I had to think about them. And as I said before the podcast, I do enjoy thinking about things a lot, because at the end of the day, when we can, as human beings, when we want to optimize for a direction, becoming the best trader, becoming the best business person, is that we need to understand, essentially, that if we can minimize the amount of like oopsies that we make, right? Whatever those oopsies might be. So those oopsies can be like decisions that will reset our thinking, or not our thinking, but our process. So for an example, I give you my example. If I was going to become dedicated to the cause of becoming the best fund manager in South Africa, right? Then there's a certain path that you walk in order to achieve that. But if you are truthful in your process and you understand where and how you can serve other humans, essentially what will happen is you will find a sense of alignment in what you do and how you serve other people. Because really all business is, at the end of the day, it's being able to transfer value from one person to the other person.
Sure.
You guys can agree or disagree with me. I mean, we're here to chat about it and debate about it. But the point being is that all these things, they stem from decision making. So you have stimuli, right, that come in from the outside world. So that stimuli essentially is what allows you to make certain decisions. How do we receive stimuli? We, as humans, we are observers. That's why I spend so much time observing, right? So we can observe people around us. How do we learn? We as humans, we learn through osmosis. So osmosis, sitting down, like, okay, let me put osmosis one side. We as humans, we learn through observing. Okay, we are observers of the universe. We are not truthfully experiencing kind of like, or not, reality isn't what it seems. Right now, here where we're sitting, it's just an experience, which we call reality, right? So that's why I said I will try not to go too deep into all of this stuff. But essentially, it all comes down to decision making. And the reason why I decided to go like full send into really AI is because before all this stuff got mainstream, before all this stuff got hypey and it really like expanded, I was already in the field. I just, you know, I was trying to bring awareness to people about what is coming, okay, and how it will affect your life in general as humans, as traders, as people, everyday in our everyday lives. So let me make this point here real quick. If we look outside of the world right now, what's happening currently, we experience a lot of, call it what you want, but a lot of money printing, right? So quantitative easing. What happens with quantitative easing is that everything, obviously because of the relationships, everything gets more expensive, not just in America, but in South Africa, everywhere, okay? People are like, no, this, let me like give you this example. Like, no, this bottle of water cost me like, I don't know what, 8 rand 2 years ago, whatever, now it's 11. And that small change simply there, right, is simply because of the nature of that, because of quantitative easing and a whole lot of other economical factors. But the point there is that once you sit down and you're able to observe what is actually happening around the world, you are then able to make decisions about that. So for an example, if you, in the morning you wake up, the first thing that you do is you open up your phone and you either check your emails. You are programming yourself to be reactive, okay? So you open up your phone in the morning, you have a little system that you run, and I'll connect it back to self-built systems because the world is ran by systems. Essentially, this is why I have such a big passion and such a big thing that I do with systems, and I will also connect that to fitness just in a minute here. So based on all these things that I'm unpacking just a few things here that's in my brain, and we'll really try to bring them together here. So you guys must tell me if you're lost. Let me just bring it back. Are we still good?
Yeah, no, I was trying to go back to the intelligence part because essentially you were hopping on basically what is intelligence.
Yeah, I'll make my point now there.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay.
Are you still with me?
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. So I'm working on being able to, you know, carry a message over better. So that's why I'll always just ask. So long story short is that all of these things I've unpacked here, those are decision making, right? It stems from decision making. And if we bring it back to intelligence, really, if you ask any really smart person that you know, whoever it might be, okay? Now, I've had the privilege to meet really, really intelligent people. And now recently, one of my mentors, essentially, he's the head of he's the head of e-com at $1 billion company. And just because of non-disclosure agreements, I'm not allowed to speak his name, but long story short is that when I shared this with him, and he studied at the University of Howard's, so that's like a school for business wizards, right? So they go there. You don't just get in there. It's like a bunch of business wizards that are there, and they do business. And yeah, it's so long story short is intelligence. All intelligence is information processing, a human's ability to process information, right? So this can be done through many, obviously, various different ways. But again, that happens through a stimuli. Okay, so essentially, what happens is that if we look at that as that component as it is there, and we ask ourselves, so what is intelligence? It's literally that. It's information processing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right. So, and if we then connect that back to artificial intelligence, it's basically artificial intelligence. So I have this one mentor that always tells me that, hey, you need to break down the words. You need to focus on the spelling of the words. Why? If you understand the word itself, you understand the root, you understand where it goes, what it leads to, etc. And I can talk way too much about that, but we'll stick here. So long story short is that artificial intelligence is the simulation of human-like intelligence, right? Yeah. So it's the simulation process. And basically like through machines, especially something like computers, right? And with specific applications that could include stuff like expert systems, a natural language, and then also like speed recognition, like all of these things, and it's connected to like machine vision. So that's what it is in a nutshell. That's what it is in a nutshell. So intelligence drills down to artificial intelligence, and I don't know what your guys' next question would be, because I mean we can be here the whole day.
like he said before, he's like, no, look, I can talk weeks about this.
I can tell.
Weeks.
I can tell. Yeah, so it will be interesting. We're talking about artificial intelligence and all that, and that maybe some people are watching us like, okay, how do we relate that to trading? Because we are about trading, and this podcast is all about, it's an educational content to people that wants to learn about trading. And funny enough, we only now realize that this thing has been part of our trading world for some time. Yeah. Because things like limits that we have on our trading platforms, that's the involvement of the AI. You set the limit, buy order, and all those type of things. Robots we spoke about, and we have a lot of robots in South Africa. If you're a trader, you don't have a robot, there's something wrong with you, right? And I don't know if you know about algorithmic traders. Yes. So these are traders that basically use an EA. So they have a software that will trade on their behalf based on quantity, time, and pricing and all that, right? And it's mostly for technical traders. Yeah, because essentially if you're using this for fundamentals, you wouldn't know when the news will come and all that. Yeah, so some people are watching like, okay, how do we relate the two?
Good question. So firstly, I'm gonna make my point, but let me start with the reason why everyone is now only becoming aware of the involvement of AI in the world. So AI, like I told you, I've been involved in the space before it got like very much hypey. You can go check out my YouTube channel. The stuff that I've been putting out based on it. It's all how you take it and connect it and align yourself in the process of utilizing the tech and being able to get an output. So meaning being able to find an edge, because the companies that I essentially work with, they all are doing between 6 to 7 figures. Yeah. Some of them, like our recent case study that we're working on right now, they're already doing 8 figures, but they want to go to 9 figures. Now that's US, right?
Yeah.
But long story short is that how this connects to trading essentially is that basically you have awareness. So firstly, how do you become aware of something? Is that someone gives you a piece of information, you see a video, you gain a sense of awareness.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, like so you have these receptors that now become aware of the thing. So if you see a car outside, like let's say you're a Porsche guy or you're a Lambo guy, and you get a Lambo or a Porsche. Okay, let's take it back a little bit. Let's say you love a BM, okay, but now you buy the BM. What happens is that there's some things that happen in your brain on a low level that what activates a process of like where you're now more aware of the car because you have it and now you see more of them. Okay.
Sure.
So now with trading, essentially, how do you bring that back to trading? How can people physically actually take the AI? So firstly, yes, big hedge funds, like I told you guys before this thing, big hedge funds, the boys with the capital, essentially, they are there first.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure.
Simply because they throw money at problems. And essentially, the more money you can throw at problems, right? You'll fix them sometime. Like you keep throwing money at problems, somewhere it will break. But what will happen is essentially they have, like you said, algorithmic traders, and you have the people that are quants, essentially.
Yeah, sure.
So the quants in the process, they work with programmers, you bring them together, right?
Yeah.
Once you bring all these elements together, they create something of your own, which you refer to as maybe an EA, etc. But what happens here is that once you have developed your own, let's just keep it in plain layman terms, your own AI for trading, which you can, it's obviously something that is programmed based on data. Okay.
Sure.
So you have to program the thing based on data. You have to work with different people, which costs a lot of bucks. Okay, it costs a lot of money. And then what will happen is that yes, you need to know. Now, I've had the privilege to meet someone that runs a firm essentially. So right, he runs an algorithmic. So the way that they trade is based on algorithm, right? So what happens is in that space is that you get given a piece of information, right? So you study the information. Once you understand the information that you studied, essentially is that you need to understand then how to pilot that thing.
Yeah.
So you refer to the robots. It's a very similar nature, but it's a little bit more advanced, because right now the truth of the reality is that the people out here that are essentially, you can give someone a robot, but that's not your solving point becoming a better trader.
Yeah,
it's just not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the truth here. You can sell someone that, but that's selling kind of like a little bit of a pipe dream there, because at the end of the day, you're selling someone a plug and play, and then like, bro, it's gonna make you a bunch of cash, which is not true at the end of the day. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, but what I'm saying here is that what is true, and in my opinion, everyone's truths are different. So I will, in my humble opinion, what is true is that basically the algorithm part, okay, once you connect that to the right people, the AI component, then yes, it comes in. Because we also have to look at essentially like how does it work, right? How does AI work in general, right? So essentially, when you bring it into the connecting with the trading part, it's like very deep. Like, I can talk about a lot of things, but there are many moving parts. And how the AI actually works, because you have different things called agents, okay, which is something that we actually I have this thing called Evolutionary Hunter. evolutionaryhunters.io, where we teach people basically about the baseline fundamentals of AI, how that connects to the process of actually you using the AI. So whether you want to go into a direction where you spin up your own LLM, which is a large language model, and you've seen something like ChatGPT, it's based on the architecture of ChatGPT. So ChatGPT also has a lot of these plugins, and I will get to ChatGPT in a minute, but how that connects to trading really is, again, decision making. If you're a trader that trades based on, like, you click a button, everyone clicks a button, right? So there's no money button. There's no like click button, make money. So everyone wants that button, right? But essentially it's based on your decision making then. So if you can take the technology and you can align yourself with the technology, you will be able to make better decisions. Why am I saying this? Simply because the speed at which the AI is moving, learning, and doing all these things essentially is that the AI is at a level right now we are going to reach something that people call AGI. Okay, so AGI essentially is called artificial general intelligence. Now, what happens here in this process is that it all comes back to your decision making. So if I can have an edge, so I'm thinking in terms of a business owner and as a trader. If I can have an edge, and if I can move faster, if I can make faster decisions, if I can build faster, then I will be able to outperform my peers or the people who are in competition with me. Because number one, I'm able to make better decisions than them, and number two, I'm able to move faster than them. If I'm moving faster than them, we optimize faster. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Okay, so keeping it to all these things is because I've like literally, like I said, I'm like unpacking a lot of these things. So to keep the train of thought as one is that trading in general is also the best traders I know, and just talking in terms of day trading, right, are the people who are really, number one, they're emotionally intelligent, and number two, they understand that it's the long game. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It does not matter what happens on that day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does not matter what happens on that day. It's because you have validated your strategy. You have validated the things that you are doing. You have belief in yourself. You look after yourself on a physical standpoint too, meaning that, like, you have boundaries where you go out and you push yourself, right? Because as a trader, you will get slapped around a lot. I mean, it's not nice losing $5,000 on a trade or losing $1,000 on a trade, right? Never nice. However, you need emotional variance. So now the AI, again, I will push it one side again. You need emotional variance. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a trader, emotional variance. Are you familiar with emotional variance?
No.
Maybe break it down to also those that wants to learn about this.
No problem. So emotional variance is being able to. I've done a full breakdown on this on my YouTube channel. So how this will work is that, let's say we have a graph, right? So we have a graph over here, and what will happen is that, let's say you've got a bunch of upticks, right? Happy, essentially, happy human emotions. So now what happens is I lose a trade. I'm like, I can handle it, whatever. I'm a strong man, whatever. what happens is now girlfriend decides to cheat on you, like whatever. Whoop. Like now you're like, oh, what is happening, bro? You know, like I'm like, my world is falling apart. I lost a trade. My girlfriend left me. I'm like, now gazillion bills that I can't keep up with. Whoop, right? So now what happens? The next day you make some money, something, your hustle, whatever, not necessarily trading. It goes back up. So now what emotional variance essentially means is that you take hits, but it shouldn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't do, psychologically, it should not do anything to you because you've trained yourself. Because emotion is what allows us to be such inconsistent creatures in how we act and do things. But emotional is also a very important part. That's why I said emotional intelligence, right? Yeah. So now what is emotional variance? It's basically being able to be robot when you take hits. And when you win, like when you win, doesn't mean anything to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's part of the game. It's like, yeah, it's what it is, you know, but when you lose, you're also like, okay, good, man. It's like, I know what's happening here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I think essentially that's what people try to achieve, especially when it comes to like trading robots and everything. Sure. Is that kind of remove the person away from the emotions, away from it. So I do understand AI kind of contributes towards that because the human is particularly not involved in that process, if you can put it like that. But thing is, what I've seen is that I've seen a lot of guys right now. There's some videos I saw back in the day, especially with involvement with not back in the day,
I almost asked you the same question. Where were you back in the day? Where was this back in the day?
Yeah. No, not back in the day. Yeah, obviously when the GPT kind of just started booming and everything, and I started seeing guys like essentially like obviously mixing that in with trading, and I saw guys, but like how I saw people do this was essentially with like coding and all of that, like maybe write me a code for an expert advisor, those kind of things like that. And like you said, it's also based on information. But like, you know what's got me like about this whole thing? Where is the information coming from? And I know that might sound like a very dumb question, but like essentially you understand right now you're communicating with something right there. You're saying, hey, write me an essay on this. But so, like, where is that information being stored?
You want to go? Oh
no, go first. Thanks.
Okay, so you must understand one thing about these LLMs, right? Large language models. That is essentially what's running on ChatGPT, right?
Okay.
So there's been different models of them coming out. Now they are trained. This is the funny part, essentially. Okay, so they are trained on the world's information. Okay, so trained on the internet. So these things, like connected to the neural nets, essentially is that they're based on the fast forward learning, right? So with connected to human feedback. So what does that mean? You have the humans in the back end, and you have the fast forward, and you have all those things essentially. But that means that all the data on the internet, okay, they're plugged into it like a boop. You like plug it in, and like it goes, bro. And like, so it's basically it's busy sucking in all of the information on the internet that it can get, basically, and then it's giving you a summary of the average of that information.
Yeah.
Right. So when you put in ChatGPT, GPT-5, or you pay for GPT-4, and you're like, yada, 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 whatever, you like, write me an essay on this, and then it'll pull that information, and it will shoot you the information, which is not always accurate. Okay. Like that's the problem here. Okay. So there's alignment here. There's a lot of it. You'll hear some AI, some thought leaders in AI. So the really, really big hitters, they will talk in terms of alignment. Okay. Now I do want to just put out a disclaimer here. I work with 6 to 7 figure businesses, and basically we consult on how you grow your company.
Yeah.
Okay. That is what we do essentially with all the technology and with all of the things that allow us to find an edge for that specific company. Like I just told you guys. So before this podcast, we recently signed a laser surgeon from Florida in the US, and we've started to work with them. And also another client, we recently started to work with one of the biggest companies here in South Africa with regards to a partnership that we have that's in the finance space, and a lot of things have been really, really escalating. But my point here is that AI, okay, it's a very broad field. Now, you must understand, I'm not an AI scientist, but I work with the tools. We work with the tools. We like the building, everything of the, like understanding how they work. So that is my field of expertise. Okay. So when it comes to really, breaking this stuff down to its core root, what's happening with the LLMs, and essentially is that most marketers on the internet will abuse this fact that they have learned a little bit of information on an LLM, which they will now go and create some kind of a course on LLM. Okay. It's what people do. So they see information, they repackage the information, and then they sell the information.
Forex.
Cut then paste. That sounds like the Forex industry.
Well, down to the T.
Well, essentially, I'm not saying that that's a complete disservice, but that's just not optimal, okay? That's why I'm here. That's why I decided to come onto this podcast, essentially, or onto this video chat, essentially. But the point being is that the question that we're addressing here is, where does the information come from? Yeah. Is it, the alignment there? Where's the alignment? So as I said before this convo before we started recording, is that essentially you first fix alignment internally, then you fix alignment externally. Okay. Now with these machines, okay, we don't know if it's actually sentient, if there's something inside there, if it's some woo-woo magic, okay? Because we only understand the architecture to a point, right? So which the information that are given to us. So for an example, I recently made a video, again, addressing the fact that there's been this new project that they have in the US, but essentially what will happen is that specific tech integrates with, the API integrates with the US military. So the things that they do to make better decisions, right? So in order to optimize that, but we will never truthfully understand what's happening there because the information gets diluted towards what people want you to see. Okay. What people want you to have access to. So I'm just saying that in broad terms. So essentially how this whole connects to trading is it's decision making. Because at the end of the day, whether you're a discretionary trader or whether you trade with some robot or some algo, essentially, is that it's just the people who trade with the algo and with all that stuff, which have developed their own algo, is if you go and look at any trading firms, etc., is that they would all have teams, okay? They would have analysts. They would have this guy, that guy. And what happens is all these people lead to one thing: decision.
Yeah.
Decision. And and they have their risk managers essentially, right? In these. So if you break the line a few times and you're not performing, then the risk manager has a chat with you, right? It's like, bro, what's happening? Like, talk to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is very broad and very general, and obviously. In general terms, I'll just make my point here and then we can move to the next question. But in general terms, AI systems work specifically by looking at large amounts of data, okay? Analyzing that data essentially and for correlations and patterns. And then utilizing those patterns essentially, as I said there, and then making predictions. That's why I said it. So it's essentially predicting the next word that you're about to say. That's an LLM, okay? So it's predicting the next word that you're about to say or the next token, making it, like something like a chatbot like ChatGPT where you can say, hey, boom, 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 and then it generates based on what the human would say. Okay.
Yeah.
So not what is because it's based on that collective knowledge that it has collected and that it is trained on. Because with the way that these models are trained, it's basically collecting the data. Like I said, that feed forward kind of way of doing it.
Great.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we've watched so many movies on robots and stuff.
Love this question.
Yeah, but it's a legit question because essentially, we've got movies have been made about all these artificial intelligence, robots taking the world. Before I actually get into the question, how many years until the AI kind of just takes over?
That is a very hard question.
What's your prediction?
I'll
just for fun.
I'll make a prediction. Yeah.
I think before you even answer that, the other question will be, when was this whole thing? When did we start with the world of EA? Because I read somewhere it was talking about AI, right? Since 1956, if I'm not mistaken.
AI has been around for a very long time now.
Were you aware of that? Him.
No, me.
1956, because you were saying Back in the days. So I'm trying to check.
No, man,
1956.
In your second life.
Yeah.
No, basically what I'm understanding, obviously, from this whole conversation is that, like, the more Jay keeps just pressing on the whole matter, I'm actually kind of understanding that AI has actually been around for a very long time. Because I'm just thinking back now, you understand, even for like factories to function, to work, understand some artificial intelligence needs to be involved there. How much gets poured into each bottle of water in a factory? AI needs to be involved there.
So
planes as well.
Yes.
To keep a certain altitude.
Yes.
See, that
autopilot and all that.
Yeah, that drills all down to systems. So my company is called Self-Built Systems.
Okay.
And essentially, when you're looking to, I'm going to answer your question on the robot thing now. Okay, I won't forget that question. So that's a really fun question. But anyway, so if you look at systems in general, the world is ran by systems. Just take a minute to think about it, right? You asked me the question of like, do I work out? And I gave you a very long answer, right?
Just it was. For those who were not there, I just asked him a simple question, very simple, and I was expecting an answer of yes or no. It was long, but maybe he can repeat.
Okay, so my point here is let's bring it back to that. Okay, so the world is ran by systems. So firstly, you have like the roadwork system, you have the medical system, you have the educational system. Okay, you have fitness in general is a system. Okay, if you want to optimize to get like bigger guns, that's a way. You have to follow a system. If you want to optimize to lose weight, that is a different system. They are not those two systems ain't the same thing. Okay, so what happens here is that like I break it down like this. So there are certain solving variables and certain solving things that I've experienced and wanted to solve in my own life. Number one, it was fitness. Okay, so fitness in general, like I said, is a system. So essentially, when you can break it down to its solving variables, all fitness is, or fitness, let's just call it fitness. All fitness is essentially being able to be in a caloric deficit. Okay, so once you are in a caloric deficit, the way that you get there are many things and little tricks and little fancy things that you can do there. But if you consume less calories than you intake, that means that if you go to the gym, essentially, you can work out 3 times a week. You can be on the world's worst workout program. But if your calories are on track, your macros are on track. So macros is basically just macronutrients. So meaning, you know that, okay, this morning I have ate a piece of protein. Fantastic. 12 o'clock, I ate a piece of protein. Fantastic. At 6 o'clock, I ate a piece of protein. Fantastic. Why am I saying that? Simply because if you're not aware of what you put in, so inputs, again, here it comes right back to systems. So input, systems run on inputs. So the human fitness system, the input that you have there is what you eat. So if you go out and you're unaware of what you're eating in the morning, or even if you have to eat in the morning, right? Sometimes I don't, but even if you have to eat in the morning, okay? What will happen is that you will have food in the morning, but you will not understand the effect that rolls out into your life, solely because you're not aware of the information. So what happens with more information, you're able to make different decisions. And we bring this back again. So what now happens is you go to the gym, okay? So it's been like, I don't know, it's been like 3 months you go to the gym, but you're not aware of the importance of the 2 variables, the working out and the food, okay? Yeah. So now you miss one. Now you're like, man, it's been like 6 months. I don't even look like that guy that I follow on Instagram. You know, like I'm following his stuff. Nothing is working, but you're missing the solving variable. So number one, caloric deficit, boom, easy. Then it rolls over to basically understanding the working out stuff. You want to get, like I said, you want to get bigger guns, lose weight, etc. You just need to understand the relationship and the effort and the time required to achieve that thing. Because again, like scaling a business, scaling your body to a certain point takes time. But once you have the right information, you are aligned with the right people, then it's all about doing the work. Essentially, trading, similar. If you go through a lot of people, mentors, whatever you want to call them, you go through a lot of people, educators, mentors, but they're the wrong people. Then you'll be playing this little ping pong game and like, nah, this thing doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, but because you're not connected to the right information and to the right people, once you connect yourself to the right information and you connect yourself to the right people, you are then also able to generate a accountability system. So like if you're a struggling trader, here's just a piece of my advice to you, because I've also obviously have had to go through that. If you're a struggling trader, right, find the right people, find the right information, find the right people, find accountability in the process, find a real leader, someone that can actually keep you accountable to follow through on journaling your trades, whatever, to follow through on doing the actual work that builds you into becoming a unstoppable, what I call evolutionary hunter, is that someone that's a real leader, essentially, but because you need someone to look up to, you need a leader to follow. And that's why I wanted to come here, because I see the biggest problem besides AI, besides all this stuff, is right now in the world, people need a real leader, someone that can lead from the front, whether that's trading, whether that's the president, whether that's business. That's what is required right now. Because I sit on these calls every single day that I have calls with people from the US, people from Europe, and from South Africa as well. And I see all these trends and patterns, and I cannot miss them. So this brings it back to the importance of why I'm so invested in AI. Because AI is essentially moving so fast. Bringing it back to answering your question, AI is eventually moving so fast, and it is becoming so smart that they will reach a point where it will outsmart the humans. Okay, so
but how can something that's built by humans outsmart the humans?
That's the thing about AI. Okay, so if I say
it's quite scary,
yeah. So if I say, for an example, there in this world that we live in, we as humans, we all have different truths. Okay. So if I'm born in a, say for example, if I was born in a European family that lives in Belgium, okay? Or if I was born in a family that lives in China or somewhere in Pakistan, we would have different beliefs that are connected to different truths, simply because of the world that we live in, right? Now what happens with AI essentially is that you ask yourself the question, well, what is the truth? I'm not going to answer that right now, but because everyone's truths are essentially different, right?
Yeah.
And once you can establish what the truth is for yourself, yes, then there is some sort of a solving point that you can get to. But to answer your question there is that basically with AI, like, because it's trained on all this data, okay? And we don't really know what's going on in the belly of the beast, right? So that's why I keep saying. So essentially is that AI in general, that's why I wanted to get to this point. I actually made a point as I was thinking about what to actually talk about with you guys, is like these things. Let me address that real quick here. You get these things called agents. Okay, so agents in general. So what is an agent? Okay, so an agent is anything that can be viewed or perceived, right, in its environment through sensors and acting upon the environment through actuators. So I might have butchered the pronunciation of that word, but so what happens here is that simply you have an idea, okay? And maybe like you as a human, how do we, like I said, we're observers, we see things through, so essentially we as humans, we think we hear with our ears and we see with our eyes, but essentially we do not. Would you guys agree or disagree with that?
Okay, maybe break it down.
We don't see with our eyes. Okay. We don't hear with our ears. That happens through the brain.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the brain's like, hey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with that in the back of your brain, now think about these agents. And that's why I didn't want to go too deep into this, because this is like a whole deep rabbit hole. So again, these agents, essentially, you give them a goal. Okay, I'm going to just keep it in plain English. What happens is throughout this process, you give them a goal. They optimize for that goal. They will do whatever to achieve that goal. Whether that's stepping on someone's toe, they will achieve the goal. The goal, so there's this one thing called Auto GPT. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing called Chaos GPT and Auto GPT. So these are agents, okay, essentially, right? Now, Auto GPT, Chat GPT, or rather Chaos GPT, it's optimized, its goals are aligned to create, spread chaos, do all these things. Again, on the other side, we have the sequential Auto GPT, Chaos GPT. So Auto GPT specifically has different goals. Now, the way that the Auto GPT has been created, you'll see once you go through, you need to know a little bit of programming to install this. bad boy, essentially, because what will happen with this is it's like your own personal C-3PO. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Star Wars or anything like that, but it's like your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2 robot, right? Yeah. So what it will do is you will give it these goals, right? And then you'll say, go. So whatever these goals might be, you'll say, you are the best business owner on the planet in X field, yada, 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 whatever that field might be. And then you tell it, well, you give it 4 goals, and then you push the button, and then it goes. And then you'll just see your tabs go like, it'll open tabs, it'll do things, until you tell it to stop. Okay. But that process obviously costs money too, because it's integrated with an API. So if you do it straight through ChatGPT, it's obviously integrated with a ChatGPT API. So it works on that architecture and structure as well.
I think for a moment I forgot that I'm on the podcast. I felt like I'm watching an Andrew Tate episode. Yeah, but I'm enjoying this. The information is just, on another level, and I'm appreciating it. Yeah, you wanted to go?
No, I'm just adding on what you're saying. It is quite a lot. Like you said, it can be a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Like even me right now, I'm like, actually, there's like other things I want to like research about and think about.
And at least the viewers have an opportunity to pause and write down notes. And but we will have to watch this again. Me and you have to watch this.
I mean, last thing I'll add to this before we wrap this up. So, if people want to go just like learn more about the rabbit hole and find some credible sources and stuff, and that's why I've developed this platform called evolutionaryhunters.io, where it is it's an educational platform, right? So you can go find it through typing in evolutionaryhunters.io on the Google machine, or whatever machine you want to use.
You all heard that, right? He said the Google machine.
Yeah. Now the truth is coming out. We've been using machines all this time.
So you can go find it there, or you can simply, if someone is already running a 6 to an 8-figure company and you want to get involved in that process, you can just go check out selfbuiltsystems.com. And you can book a call with me or one of my team members, but that's essentially where you can go find out and learn more about it. But there are also very much other credible sources, which obviously you can go study by. There are courses by universities and stuff that they are spinning up these things, because all the things are changing, right? Like even if you look at the way information is now, like teachers' lives will change, everything will change simply because of this tech, okay? Yeah. And this tech, obviously, essentially, it tries to optimize, but the more you optimize, there's a breaking point. Okay. Stuff breaks.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like I said, this all comes down to understanding that scientists in general, and I have a lot of respect for scientists, but one thing that I've picked up on is I believe scientists have this notion that they can solve everything through science, which at the end of the day, there's a lot more things happening on this planet, right? Bigger things than ourselves happening. That's just my own personal belief. But that's why it's important to arm yourself with the right info and people.
Yeah. Well, I had a question and it kind of just disappeared. Yeah. Oh no, actually. So what does self-built systems do? Because I know that's something that you do. Because I'm very curious about that. Exactly. What is it that you guys are doing and up to?
Right. So to break it down to its core principle is that when you are scaling a business, whatever company it might be, we work with service-based businesses and we help them grow and scale on the internet. Okay, so that's elevator pitch style. Okay, but essentially, when I was building this thing, it was an inflection and a solving point for ourselves too, because right now, yes, we have the AI component, which gives us a big edge in the space where we are right now, because we have advantage in using all these tools, and we have my whole thing that I do is I'm a systems architect, so all the systems that are running inside of the businesses that I have to sit down with the business owners and we find optimization points. Okay, so meaning a company is already doing 6 figures or 7 figures, whatever that amount might be, but CEOs are essentially sitting around all day long trying to find ways, optimization points of growing their business, growing their baby, right? Being able to not just make more money. Money is not the thing that I've realized here on this path. Yes, with money comes With money comes great responsibility, but also, as the age-old saying go, different levels, different devils. However, when it comes to solving this thing on a business perspective, is that CEOs are sitting around all day looking for an edge, looking for an optimization point. Now, what do we do in Self-Built Systems? We come in and we help you find that optimization point. We are the best at what we do, and you can go and look at the work that what we've done within the shortest amount of time right now. We've worked with an enormous amount of, I say enormous because there was a time where I was like a bit, overwhelmed because of the decisions that I made to take on extra clients. So my point here is that you can go look at the case studies and the stuff that we've done with these companies. And now recently we're busy revamping our whole site to update the case studies and to update a few other things. But lastly, in general here is that growth essentially stems from a few areas in your life. Growth can be seen as many different aspects. Okay. So what we're doing right here is we're really, really helping, and we're optimizing on those standpoints to help companies make more money. Because when you have more money, you have different areas that you can allocate the capital into. Once you have different areas and you understand the different levers that you can pull as a business owner, you might already be pulling a lot of them. You might already be pulling capital. You might already be pulling code, AI, essentially, which everyone is waking up right now and they're running to try to solve this AI problem, which I'm seeing a lot. But that's what we solve for. I mean, companies are doing us X amount of dollar. They want to go more. They want to reach higher figures. And we come in and we are the guys that will help you achieve just that. And we basically work with companies anywhere from 3 months to 12 months. And there's a few companies that we've stayed on now that we are in the process of staying on longer, because we don't run something in the space called an agency model, where someone will charge you based on a retainer. Okay. We work based on performance. Right? So if a company is doing, let's say, for example, 250,000 Rand a month, and the needle is not moving. It's been 3-4 months, the needle has not moved. We come in, we make the needle move, okay? But that when the needle moves, we have different incentive structures around that based on performance. And that's how we roll. That's how we align our incentives.
Yeah.
Don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it
does. It does.
Yeah, it does make sense. A lot of people right now, so the AI space, I think the biggest threat from the AI space right now is that a lot of people are scared that it's going to take jobs. You know, it's stuff that we've seen over the years on a smaller, I wouldn't say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to call it a smaller scale in terms of factories going fully automatic, and all of that, automated systems. So right now, a lot of people are sitting there at home my job this, so how do we actually prepare ourselves for the future right now, moving forward as to okay, now the future is coming right now. What does a kid at home right now, or a kid in high school right now, need to consider about their future, their career right now? It's what spaces should, and as much as a lot of people probably say IT, but I don't think IT, that's where it
IT is also getting hit. Yeah. So what you must understand here is that the best way to create your future, essentially, the best way to mold the future, right, is to create it right now. How do you create it right now? Is you first understand what's happening in the world. Okay, so that's why I'm saying it all comes down to looking around you. Now I've noticed this about myself, but I've been doing this looking at observing things since I was very small. But the point being is that how can we take advantage of this to not get heavily impacted by this thing, right? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the easiest way I can answer you this, I will start it with a business principle, because that's something very easy to understand, and then I'll also give a fitness example. I believe that will be very easy to just understand. So in business in general, all business is, okay, it's an automation it's an automation with systems and people, okay? So what are we looking at here? Computers, we use computers, right? We use a phone. So it's an automation in a loop between systems, computers, and people, right? So what does that do? That we're looking for optimization points. We're looking for all these things. And what happens is that there's a human in the loop, okay? Now, with the AI and with all the tech, throughout the span of times, if you look at evolutionary psychology and you look at all these things, is that we have been using technology for a very long time. Like a stick might have been your first piece of technology to kill an animal, because if you had the stick, you knew how to use the stick, make it sharp, make an arrow, make a bow. You had leverage. So you could go out, you can boom, hit it, right? You can bring it back home. And then there was another guy that he figured out, okay, essentially, well, we need to figure out how to eat this thing, okay? So then there was the chef or the other guy. And then there was the connection, okay? So now bringing it back to my point here is we need to understand that first. So there's like, yes, there is a lot of jobs that are going to be eliminated, and that is the truth. However, what we can do to arm ourselves best is to, number one, get the right access to the right information, okay, and the right people. But how do we plan and prep moving forward? Is that we understand how to align ourselves with the technology, okay? Because the best pizza maker, the best trader, the best fund manager, the best business person is going to be the guy that understands and learns about the technology and aligns himself with the technology. What does that mean? Alignment simply means learning how to work with the machines to have better output. So the machines, I keep saying this, and it comes back to the whole movie story, right? Yes, we have been subtitly programmed to be ready for this. People have been knowing, yes, this is coming, bro. They have been showing you this on Netflix. They've been showing you Terminator. They've been showing you all these things. Yeah, they knew it's coming. So long story short was that how do we prepare? How do we move forward from here? Is again, we align ourselves with the technology. Again, if you're the best pizza maker or if you're the best lawyer, lawyers are heavily impacted by this thing too. Like you will see that you can go Google this or ChatGPT, whatever you want to do it, however you want to find your information. But just remember that the people, the players that want to dominate their niches and their domains and their jobs essentially, right? And want to have the edges, the people who align themselves with the technology and learn how to use it. But that is not essentially easy because people don't all the time like change. And all this banking stuff that's happening around the world, the market stress, all this stuff, like the inflation, all that stuff, these things, they're happening for a reason. But the savvy humans, the people that, you know, truthfully, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to spread this message, because I know what is coming. And it's already here, okay? I know what is coming, and if I don't talk about this, I will not be able to be myself. Because the highest level of like truthfully reaching a sense of immortality or whatever you want to call it, is that being able to share your information with people. Because once you can share your information with people, you can provide some sort of value to someone, okay? Whatever your intentions are behind that. But you can go and you can provide real value to someone and really make an impact in someone's life. So how do we prepare in the shortest sentence possible is learn. That's what we can do right now, is learn about the technology. Buy a book, learn about like essentially, because here's what's happening. If you're a coder right now, I hear so many coders. I talk to coders every single day too, simply because of a lot of things that we're involved in to build different things for companies, right? And they've lost their superpowers. Why? Simply because if you can, in plain English, tell the thing what to code, and it can automatically populate the code, okay? Where's your edge as a coder? Yes, if you can simply understand simple coding language, that's where your edge is. Because you need to know, okay, this there, move this, boom, boom. Like, then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm like, you're piloting the machine essentially, right? So again, ChatGPT, what does it help you do? I see a lot of people, and this, please do not make this mistake. I sit and I see this so much. People that are copywriters, people that essentially are invested in that process, they are getting lazy, but not just copywriters. People that want to use it to do their homework, people that want to use it to do all sorts of different things that involve physical investment into that process, which is the cognitive ability which you develop. How do you reach a state of intelligence is through consistency. Once you reach like creativity, you're tapped into creativity once you are tapped into consistency. And that is also why discipline is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because discipline teaches you the things, the keys that you need to unlock these other areas of your life. And the last thing that I'll say here, I know we're running out of time, and I'll respect you guys' time for that. The last thing I will say here is that do not sleep, okay? Do not sleep on this opportunity that you have here. Do not sleep on what is happening around the world. And essentially the best way for you to prepare is to act right now. The best way to plan for the future is to act right now. You do not have control over the past. You do not have the only way that you control the future, okay, is if you are present in what you're doing right now. That's the only way. It's your actions, what you're doing right now. That sets the bar for the future. That's how the future is developed. Okay, so the best way you can plan, the best way you can prep is through gearing yourself to understand the disciplinary factor around really being able to learn about these things and realizing how important discipline is in your life. That's why I give you that long answer towards why I work out. Yes, working out is one element and component of discipline, but working out is on a physical plane. It's there. But what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to challenge myself each and every single day, okay, to a point where I'm pushing myself, right? I'm not just going to the gym to look good. And people don't believe me when I say that, okay, which is okay. But you're running, right? You're going for a run. If you're running, it's just you. You know what I'm saying? If you don't run with music, it's just you. No one else is there. No one else is telling you to stop. And go check out some Goggins philosophy if you guys want more on that. But David Goggins is definitely someone you guys can study. Really, really good dude. Yeah.
Wow, I think this is my first episode of me being just staring and listening, but I like the fact that you mentioned that we just need to familiarize ourselves with the technology.
It's awareness, yeah.
Because it comes with opportunities. I mean, this is the best time to become millionaires.
100%.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
The factories that we're crying about that they're closing down, when the economy is not doing well, people still don't have jobs, but the factories are there because the factory owner doesn't even have enough capital to keep it running. So we have machines like YouTube now, the machines that pays you for people viewing. So I think it's going to come with a lot of opportunities. The only thing I'm quite scared of is the speech recognition and the voice thing that comes with it, because now you'll be hearing your voice,
But let me add to your knowledge there.
Yeah.
So the thing here is that why I made the point about the scientists, right?
Yeah.
Because if you see everything to a scientific lens, what you must understand is that there's a little hypothesis that they run, there's a little process that they run in order to validate something. So one thing about social media, which you must also understand, and I'm going to make my point here, social media companies, right? So there's a word for this. So consumer-driven kind of companies, like social media, like the metaverse, essentially, their whole game plan, right, is essentially to exploit human psychology in the fastest possible way. So push, break, found the little exploit, little area, and then they keep feeding you that back through a loop. You wake up, you check your phone in the morning, you liked a girl's photo, now you wake up, next morning you see more girls, now you're distracted, okay? So same thing, you like a car, next morning you wake up, oh, more cars, this is nice. So at the end of the day, how do we prepare for this? Is that number one, you fix your discipline. I will have to start there. Number two is that you find the right information, okay? You validate those sources of information, you find the right people, and you get to work. Because at the end of the day, if you want to make real progress in your life, if you want to make real substantial, like earth-shaking progress, I'm talking like, earth-shaking process, it's all about the amount of focused work that you can deploy. The more focused work that you deploy, the less distracted you will be, and the more connected you will be, if you believe in a higher power or not, but the more connected you will be to your process, okay? Whatever that process is like. And that's what I've now found throughout this last 6-7 months, is that's where really interesting and cool things have been. The more I was working, the more I was focused on the thing, doing the work. The other stuff just, it's
automatic.
Are humans gonna get dumber?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because the people who choose the lazy path will get dumber. Yeah. Because why? We as humans, our brains, let me just break this one little point. Our brains work like this. Our brains are not optimized to push us, okay? It's not optimized to do hard things. That's why I say the disciplinary factor. Once you figure out that your potential as a human being are so much larger than you can actually imagine, right? It's so much larger. Because why? Once you truthfully are able to tap into this internal self, okay? However you see that, is that you really start to realize that the limitations that you have placed on yourself has only been there because of society, because of the world, the systems that are connected around you and that want to bring you back down to their level of operating. Okay? So will humans get dumber? Like maybe the ones that choose the easy path, but the ones that choose the hard path those are the ones that are going to dominate. What is the hard path? The hard path is essentially sitting your butt down on a chair and learning, and then taking that information, putting it to work, developing a feedback system, and doing it again.
What makes you ask that question, by the way?
No, reason why, because based on this conversation right now, I'm just thinking about it right now, because I know even like I heard a story about something about at UCT students were like using ChatGPT.
Oh,
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not using, they don't want to use their brains. They want to do it in the fastest, quickest possible way. That's what I'm saying. Your brain is not optimized to do hard things. It's going to choose the easy path. Because why? It's going to be safe. It's going to be fun. It's going to be... And that is the problem that we're facing here. Humans in general, because that also leads to a sense of control. Okay, like if you're no longer using your brain, people will influence you easier, way easier, because I can just tell you something and you can just believe it because I've showed you a bunch of nice things, or I've showed you things. Essentially, look at it from the trading world perspective. I know a lot of really good traders, okay? Have a lot of respect for them. But most of them move like absolute ghosts, okay? The ones that I know. They are not out there flaunting. They're not out there showing you their ride. They don't care. They've got 5. They've got 6. They don't need to, because they understand the relationship that and the process that they're connected to. So meaning, if you are selling information to someone, then by all means, sell your information. But if you are relying on flexing, this is what's happened. We are in the new world right now. And this is my point. I believe this is a beautiful way to finish this. This is my point. After the C word, you guys are familiar with the C word.
What's the C word?
So we had a little episode where we needed to put a mask.
Oh, okay.
So after we had an episode of the C word. So essentially after the C word, there was a little reset that happened in the world, okay? A little bit more of awareness got spread into the world. What happened there? Opportunity, awareness, all these things happened. But the point here is that this is what happened. A lot of things changed, and also a lot of people got aware of things. What does that mean? Is that we are in a new world right now. Things are rapidly changing, okay? It has been happening since was the The C word was the injection of it, right? So the C word was the injection thereof, a speeding up of the process, whatever that process is to you. So now, the way I wish to finish this is that basically understanding that yes, we are in a new world right now, and the old way of doing things are the old way of doing things, right? So the old education system. Like I dropped out of university to say this. I wanted to say this in the beginning, but I left it for the end. I dropped out of university while studying a business degree. What was I doing? I was making risks. I was literally taking risks through doing little modeling gigs here and there, doing videography gigs for people, compiling the cash and taking that cash and paying people who are running like really, really successful companies to learn a few things from them, okay? But the stuff that I was learning from them and the stuff that I was learning from the uni just wasn't making sense to me in the physical application of it, because I knew, okay, if I choose the uni path, I will go work, I will do an internship, I will walk that path. There was another little ladder that's ahead for me there. I will need to climb that ladder. Once I've climbed that ladder, the whole world is gamified. And once you can gamify your process, everything will start to make sense to you. But you have to understand the gamification around that little game. Life is not a game. That's not what I'm saying here. Business is definitely a game, but life definitely not.
Yeah, sure.
What more to say after such?
You know what I'm afraid of. I have an obsessive personality, and I get obsessive about things, and I don't want to go down this path because I'm feeling myself today. I'm like, actually, Jay is actually talking about a whole lot of things. I'm like, actually, it's piquing my interest right now, a whole lot, and I think I'm hoping that that's what that's doing for you guys at home, for the ones listening as well. Is that it's not just a matter of like, hey, we had somebody coming here to talk about AI, but hopefully it's also sparking things, allowing people to also think differently as well. Because like essentially, this is threatening our livelihoods at best. We need. I mean, the other day, yesterday, we were actually talking with my little brother to edit your videos. Right now, there's literally a software that does everything for you.
100%. Yeah.
You're done. Like now, it's like already one person's
let me give you one last example. In that example there, if that person, your little brother, right? If he learns how to utilize the tech, I'm just gonna say the AI, the tech.
Yeah.
He's gonna have such a big advantage over all of the editors that are just sitting and following their old processes, right? He's gonna be able to move faster. He's gonna be able to produce better work because of the technology. That's literally it.
Where is he, by the way? He should be listening to this.
Nah, he's probably gonna be.
There's guys that are charging for example, 3,000 rand a video. If he really ups his game, he's gonna be able to charge 10K a pop.
Yeah,
25K a pop easily, simply because of the skills and the leverage that's applied.
And for hardly doing anything.
Well, that's leverage, right? Right there, that is leverage.
Yeah,
all business is leverage. It's having someone has piece of information, someone understands this car better than you, or someone understands real estate better than you, or some sort of something that they're selling you, and that is business. That is leverage.
Simple as that.
But you know what I like about this whole AI thing?
Yeah,
it doesn't have feelings. That's what I like about it.
Spoken like a
He's saying yet.
I didn't hear that.
Because we don't know. So the thing is, I will definitely not dive into that today because but yes.
Yeah.
Luckily we see the problem here is this is the problem. When there's a thing walking there and it moves like a human and it talks like a human, how do you know it's human? See, here's the problem. In the internet world right now, this is what I address with every single company I work with. One of the first things is there's this thing called information agnostic. Because of the AI, because of all the stuff that is around there, because of how good it is getting, we will not know. People do not like talking to robots. We know that, okay? But we will not know. It's getting so good that you will not know whether you are talking to a robot or to a person. So what is the problem here? Information agnostic means that business owners, etc., will have to have some sort of a creator, some sort of something that is connected to the information that they are selling, which you guys are obviously doing a great job with what you are doing, but that's an example of thereof. One of the examples, okay? Because that is simply that stamps a credibility sticker that yes, you can listen to this guy because he is a human. He is a human that has done really cool things, really admirable things, and you're not talking to a robot.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. Yeah.
Sure.
Did you hear that you there's a program where I don't know, but I saw this and I had this somewhere. It can compile, different kinds of voices. If maybe you are still alive now, obviously I can see you are. I record your voice. Then the minute you die, your voice can speak back to you. Like you did, but it can speak to you. You can literally have someone speak to you. Somebody who died is speaking to you.
It's just trained on your voice, right?
It's trained on your. So it's quite scary that we're gonna be now. The technology, man, is advancing, and like I said, it's coming with opportunities at the same time.
Yeah.
But when it comes to trading, what I like about it is feelings, because some hedge funds don't have to worry about traders that are not doing well when it comes to their emotions, because if it's data based, it will work according to the data captured on it. So it will not say, you were speaking about emotions variance, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it will not be like, I lost yesterday, I don't want to place a trade today, or today's call, my girlfriend dumped me. If it sees an opportunity based on how you programmed it, it's gonna go for it. And I feel like a lot of traders are suffering from that, the emotional side of things.
Yeah.
So robots initially do well because they don't have emotions.
Yeah, but I think that's that for today.
Yeah,
we did episode 2, by the way, part 2.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I wouldn't mind at all.
I think Triple J had a lot to.
By the way, I like I said, I met you a couple of years back. I called you Triple J because your name is.
No, it's cool.
It's cool.
I'll pronounce it real quick. I've recently, like 6 months ago, I could correct it on how I pronounce my own name. So I have this one French client, and he was like, "Well, bro, why are you pronouncing your name wrong? I was like, oh, is that how you pronounce it? But yeah, essentially my name is Jean-Jacques. So that's how you pronounce it, right?
Jean-Jacques, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting down yesterday interviewing someone with the exact Jean-Jacques. And he said it like that because I was like coming from an Afrikaans, that Afrikaans point of view. And he was just like, yeah, exactly, Jean-Jacques.
So that's the Afrikaans way of pronouncing that. So it's a French name essentially. So Jean-Jacques is how you would say it in one go.
What does it mean, by the way?
I would like also to know. Like
maybe go on ChatGPT.
You can ChatGPT it. So that's the thing. I've actually I got asked this question 3 days ago, and I couldn't answer the question straight because have never looked into it. So that's just just what it is.
No. Thank you so much for your time and just coming through to just talk here on the podcast, on Industry Chats podcast. We sit down with different industry player, and I believe you are an industry player in the artificial space, obviously artificial intelligence space, and say that correctly.
Yeah, you better, because he's gonna give you an explanation. He's gonna come with an explanation and correct you properly.
No, thank you so much. And that's that for today, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. You mentioned that one of the hardest ways of doing things is to sit and learn. I'm hoping that viewers would sit and watch this episode, grab your pen, write some notes, and learn.
Yeah, I would study this thing. And
there will be a part 2 definitely. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Nqobile Tembane. I'm sitting down here with Triple J, Jean-Jacques.
Thank you very much.
And MJ Givens as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
And we out.